All right, it says we're live.
Hi, everybody. Except that there's probably no everybody yet because we literally just went live. So, hi, nobody for another few minutes.
Um, so go ahead, LeeAnna.
Well, we're going to just vamp for a couple of minutes and let some people join us.
Yeah, and it's kind of we can't see who is with us, and we encourage people to leave comments.
Please.
A lot of times we can't see who is leaving the comments because we're not actually on Facebook right now. But you can always say, "Hi, this is Carrie," or whoever, and then we can actually give you a shout out by name if you want to do that. So anyway, yeah. Hey, guess what? I'm in a different office today.
I missed your not having your cat art behind you. That's one of my favorite parts of our video calls.
I know. And people probably are wondering why the background isn't bright yellow. And it's because I'm in my husband's office and he's a musician. So he has a lot of like musician art. Like this is something that one of his students gave him. He teaches oboe. And so it's like all these crayons and it's melted. And there's like a little treble clef and a bass clef in this little heart. It's really cute. Yeah. So this is where he gives his music lessons. So, and why am I in this office, LeeAnna?
Because the tech gods frowned upon you big time yesterday.
I did something apparently evil, and my computer turned into a boulder. So
It's a really nice paperweight.
non-functional. Yeah. So I'm using my husband's computer. Oh goodness, we have one viewer. Thank you so much for joining us. Yay!
Right now.
All right, LeeAnna, I'll let you take it away.
All right. So I am LeeAnna Buis, and this is the magical Marci with me. And we are with Feline Behavior Solutions. And essentially, we provide feline behavior solutions. So we are both certified feline training and behavior consultants. Basically, what that means, if you're new to our little group or you're watching for the first time, is that all those things that dog trainers do for dogs, helping with separation anxiety, house soiling, aggression, fear, you can do the same thing for cats. And a lot of people don't know that. They think that they just have to live with whatever's happening, or their cat has to live with whatever anxiety or fear. And that's not at all the case. And we spend our lives and our careers now trying to spread that message and solve problems. And so, to that end, today we are talking about training good behavior. And maybe a better word for that is training wanted behavior.
Yes.
Because the cat training cardinal rule is cats do what they do for a reason. They're trying to meet some kind of a need. And if they're doing that in a way that we don't like, it's a super big bummer, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still a need they need to meet. So the trick, and a big part of our job when we're dealing with people, is to give them appropriate ways to meet those needs. And a really great example of that is counter surfing, which some people love, some people hate, some people could care less. But that's what we're going to talk about today. So, mystical, magical Dr. Marci.
Yes, LeeAnna.
Do you want to share some counter surfing magical tips for us?
Sure. So I would say when you're first starting to think about behavior, and if you're trying to correct any kind of behavior, and I should say correct kind of in the same way that LeeAnna, you were saying, for every behavior, the cat is simply trying to express a need, trying to meet a need.
Yeah.
And so we want to figure out what that need is that they're trying to meet. And then also be a little bit creative and go, okay, well, how can we give that cat a way to meet that need in a way that I can live with? And a lot of people don't want filthy litter box paws on their kitchen counters. So we're going to use counter surfing today as an example. My cats, honestly, they get up on our tables and they occasionally get up on our counters, not too often. I'm not really, super fanatical about it, but they do not have a need to get up on our kitchen counters, so they just don't.
That's the key.
Yeah. So they don't have a need. Those needs are met elsewhere in our home, and that's where they tend to focus all their vertical movement. When I talk about training for alternative behaviors, the thing I always keep in mind for people, and I ask them to keep this in mind, for every no, there has to be a yes. For every no, there has to be a yes.
We
If
should
you do not,
tattoo that on our foreheads.
I
It's
know.
so important.
So if you don't give your cat an alternative, they're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again because that need hasn't been addressed properly.
And they may not be obvious needs to you as a cat owner too. Like, people don't often realize that scratching is a way that cats stretch after a nap. That, might not seem like a big deal, but it's an instinctual need. They can get on counters for lots of different reasons that might not be obvious to us. So
LeeAnna,
goggles.
Yeah. So what are some of the reasons why? Let's just take this one step at a time.
Yeah.
So first of all, cats getting on counters or tables. I call it table dancing. Counter surfing, which just I love the visual that brings to mind.
We need to find an artist to draw that up for us.
Yeah. So what are some of the reasons why cats get up on tables and counters?
So hunger is probably number one. And that, I imagine, that surprises a lot of people because we have such an epidemic of pet obesity in the world right now. But cats often are either underfed or they're only fed a couple of times a day. And cat digestive systems aren't designed for that. They're little tiny short digestive tracts. They have little tiny like ping pong ball sized stomachs. And so they need to eat multiple times during the day. And so if they don't get that, after 4 or 5 hours, they start getting hungry. They start looking for food. It can also be a way, if you're in the kitchen cooking, you're doing something new and interesting and they're bored. And so they just want to see what's going on.
They want to be up in your biz.
Yeah. If you've got a cat who like follows you around when you're cleaning the house and that kind of stuff, they're probably also going to want to sit on the counters and watch you cook. Plus it smells good.
It's an excellent place from which to judge.
Not in my house because most of the cooking is done in the microwave.
Well, they can at least judge your, cleaning or whatever from,
That's true.
They'll just watch. They're like, yeah. What are you doing? No, you missed a spot. You missed a spot.
They'll take care of that for me. Another thing that people might not think about is, first of all, cats being up high is very normal for them. It can be a way to have a better vantage point on what's happening. If they're feeling insecure or prey-like, it can be a way for them to get up off the ground where they feel more secure. If they're feeling predatory, it can be a way for them to get up above whatever it is that they want to pounce on. So vertical space is just normal living space to cats. They're not thinking of it as getting up on something they're not supposed to. They're just thinking of it as another floor.
I agree.
So I think those are the big ones. Any others to add?
Yes, I do have a big one. Cats will often get up on the counters because they know it's going to get your attention.
Yes.
So, because if we react to them like, what are you doing? Get off that counter. If they are trying to get your attention because they're bored or they want something, they'll be like, okay, I know that if I get up on the counter, I'm going to get her attention. They've trained us really well. Cats train
better trainers than we are, for sure.
Exactly. They know what gets us motivated to act.
Yep.
And they just figure that out. They go, oh, okay, I get up on the table and then I get the reaction. And sometimes even negative reactions are a reward. So we have to look at our own behavior and ask ourselves, are we reinforcing the action that these cats are trying to, we're trying to get them to stop doing something, but really, are we reinforcing that behavior? So one of the best, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but one of the best ways to just really check ourselves when we're trying to get a cat to stop doing something is to react as neutrally as possible.
That's a hard one too.
Oh, gosh, it's so
hard. Got cat paws that are about to like hit the hot stove.
Yeah.
or dip into the dinner that you just made, it's hard to not instantly go, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's attention.
Totally agree.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
other bad one is don't lure them off of the counter with treats.
Right. Yeah, you never want to reward, because it's all about a behavior chain.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you rewarding the cat for? Getting down from the counter, but what did the cat have to do just prior to that?
To be able to get down off the counter, yeah.
So don't reward a cat from jumping down off the counter.
Yeah,
so
goes well.
Yeah. Okay, so LeeAnna, we've addressed potential, like the reasons why cats are potentially doing something. The next thing we want to do is go, okay, well, we don't want the cats up here. What are some of the ways that we can make countertops less attractive to cats? So there's two sides of this. What can we do to make the countertops less attractive? And then what can we do to make something else more attractive? Yeah. And that second thing is, to me, in my opinion, much more important. But let's start with the first thing, making the countertops less attractive, because there are some big no-nos. Yeah.
So what can we do? This? It's like a quiz show today for me. I'm doing all the questions.
Oh, you can ask me questions. And I was like, LeeAnna, do you want to take the lead on this? I can't help myself. I'm sorry.
This is Marci.
Sorry.
It's part of the reason I love you. Okay, so how to make counters unattractive. I'll give one, you give one. Okay. Clean them off. Food, crumbs, leftovers, dirty dishes. Let your cat training be your reason for having a spotless kitchen. Because if you've got hungry cats especially, but even if they're not hungry, if there's just good stuff up there, you know, somebody puts a Cheeto down next to me, I'm going to eat it. So your cats are thinking the same thing. So clean dishes, you know, no crumbs, put food away. A lot of things, I can't talk today. One thing a lot of people don't realize, just a little PSA here, is that food that comes in plastic bags, chip bags, any kind of bag, is a really serious suffocation hazard for dogs and cats. So, you know, you leave a bag of bread on the counter, your cat gets into that bread. It takes seconds for that to just go sideways and horrible. So even another reason to keep food off the counters. So that's number one. Yes. Marci, you want to take number two?
Okay. So keeping food off the counter, that means that it's not self-rewarding with food. Another way to make the countertop less attractive is to put things on the counter that cats might not really like to walk on so much. And this is where things can start to go sideways here. So
there are two different schools of thought on how to do this.
Yes, I like to do things as least intrusively as possible. Yeah. So if it's just kind of an inconvenience, that's one thing. But if you're putting things out that are going to cause fear, stress, and anxiety, we definitely don't want to do those things.
Especially if you already have an anxious or a nervous cat. That can just ratchet the stress level up. And then that becomes, you know, that causes other behavior problems.
Exactly. So, you know, a lot of people, and I know we have some veterans in the audience, especially like this topic comes up pretty frequently in the Feline Behavior Solutions private group. And there was a recent one, and there were some really good suggestions in it, and I think they covered the whole thing. But anyway, so tinfoil, that's where people often start. But I've seen lots of pictures of cats lounging around on tinfoil, just having a ball. You know, they're like, hey, this is great. I love it. Another one that I've found to be more effective than tinfoil is double-sided sticky tape. So Sticky Paws is one brand. And what you're going to want to do is not just put it directly on the countertop, because that is fun for nobody.
I did that on a bar stool once. I'm still trying to get sticky stuff off the bar stool.
Yeah, that's not good. So yeah, it's definitely Sticky Paws works better than tinfoil, because cats don't like walking on this sticky stuff. And so what I usually recommend is just get some cardboard, because then you can cut it to convenient shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
Or a cheap set of plastic placemats from the dollar store or something, and put double-sided sticky tape on those areas. And then you can put them out when you're not there, and then take them away when you're working on the surface, and then redistribute them. There's a drawback to that, because double-sided sticky tape is kind of expensive, and if you have a lot of countertops to cover, you know,
a lot of placemats.
yeah. So that's another thing. Can I talk a little bit about some things that people put out as aversives that I don't think are great?
You can, but first I have to say thank you to the person who posted Goo Gun to remove tape adhesive. I went through a bottle of it. I just need to get some more. So you're absolutely right.
And then somebody wrote, and I'm sorry, we can't see your names. So if you want to put your name in, you know, I would love to know who we're talking to. It just says Facebook user. So I was going to say, my guy does it for attention right after I get home. That's, yeah, attention is a big deal. You'd think a bowl of citrus fruit would be a deterrent, but he gets up there and shoves his face in it and rubs against them. Yeah, so a lot of cats don't like citrus smell. And here's just a little bit of caution. So a lot of cleaning products and scented products that you can buy that have that citrusy smell.
It's Tan.
It's Tanya. Okay, great. Hey. A lot of those products have citrus essential oils in them, which are highly, highly concentrated, and they can be very toxic to cats.
Yes.
So please don't use essential oil directly in an effort to get your cats to avoid something, because again, that can cause respiratory or even dermal reactions that aren't good. So, you know, be really careful with that. Another thing that I've been seeing this lately, you can buy these like cat spikes.
Those are a nightmare. I don't even like the pigeon kind that go on the top of walls. It's horrible.
I saw them in a client's house for the first time, and I'm like, what are those? And she's like, oh yeah, these work great for keeping my cats off the table. And I'm like your cat could literally stab themselves, and that would be bad. Like if there was a freak out or cat fell or something, I mean, these spikes come in mats, and these spikes are like this tall. Ugh. And
no judgment if you've tried them. That's just a risky way to ask your cat not to do something that they naturally want to do.
Yeah. Another thing that I'm not a huge fan of are the scat cans. And so if you don't know what those are, they are motion detecting squirt cans. It sprays compressed air. It's unscented usually. And when it just senses movement, it'll go psh, which scares the cat and presumably gets the cat off the counter. There are a couple of drawbacks. First, it can cause fear, anxiety, and stress, especially in cats that are fearful. Second thing is, if you forget that you have it on, you can set it off and then scare it. So that's always fun.
Midnight snacks, no.
Yeah. Oh, no. And then the third thing is cats. I don't know if you knew this, but cats are like little velociraptors.
I've heard that.
They keep testing. If they know something is up there, they keep testing.
They're smart.
Yes. So they can become used to something happening, and they can also figure out different places to access the countertop. So you have to just constantly stay one step ahead. You need to refill those things, which are not cheap. And then you need to keep moving them around, which is not always fun because, again, surprises for everybody. And so that's another thing. And there's another thing even that people use that I don't love either.
What's that?
Do you know what that is? Shock collars.
Oh.
Or like electric mats. Anything that requires electricity to run.
Yeah.
No, please. And I know, like, we empathize with your situation if you're using these, and a lot of people say, oh, it's just a mild vibration.
It's not, it hurts.
And we don't know. I mean, even if we test it on ourselves, sometimes we don't know how it's actually being perceived by cats.
Cat paws are so sensitive. They have so many sensors and touch receptors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's, you know, again, we hate to judge. That's just that's a big one.
Right, right. So there are some non-aversive things that you can do relating to keeping cats off of counters, but really that's not the area of concentration that we want to focus on. What do we want to focus on?
I don't know. You lost me.
Well, we want to focus on the flip side. Like, okay, so even if the countertop is made like, you know, not
like, Marci, what are you talking about? I don't know.
LeeAnna, can't you read my brain?
I now I can. It took me a minute. I'm there.
Yeah. So
what to do instead?
Yeah, what are we going to do instead?
And the cool part about this is that this concept works with tons of behavior issues. So we're focusing on counter surfing because it's a really common issue, but it works with all kinds of stuff.
Scratching.
Yeah, that's such a big one. We should probably do scratching soon.
We need to do scratching. Yeah. So, LeeAnna, we want to use positive reinforcement, right, to encourage the cat from doing something that is now not that rewarding because, you know, at the very minimum, we've taken all food away.
What's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? Instead, so nothing rewarding about getting up on the counters. But
except being close to our glorious faces. That's sometimes why they want to be up there.
Exactly.
So one way that you can solve that, sorry, Marci.
No.
One way you can solve that is to give your cat an acceptable option for a perch near the kitchen cooking area that's far enough away that you feel comfortable, but still gives them a nice view and access to what's going on.
Yes. Yeah. Those high bar stools weren't great unless you're LeeAnna and don't want your cats on them and you put sticky paws.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah. No, I use high bar stools all the time when I'm in, you know, recommending to clients because they often have those at islands.
And the only reason I didn't want it is because my cat was getting up on the back and tipping it over into my dining table.
So, that's not good. That's not good. That's not
Doesn't do it anymore though because we did this.
Yes. So if a cat has a choice between doing something that's not very rewarding anymore and a choice that meets that need and gets rewarded for it,
obvious choice.
What's my cat gonna do? Yeah.
It's like, am I gonna sit in the chair where I get the ice cream, or am I gonna sit in the chair where nobody gives me ice cream?
Right.
Sit in the chair with the ice cream. Well, I'm vegan, so it would need to be vegan ice cream, but
vegan ice cream. So. Yeah, I'll take the regular stuff. But Chris brought home the Fairlife ice cream one day. It was like Fairlife ice cream. So Fairlife is like the weird protein kind of. It's like the non.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this nonsense?
Healthy ice cream.
I know. I'm like, what is this?
Protein, fiber, and ice cream? No.
Why are you trying to remove the joy from my life? I don't understand what is happening here. Anyway, yeah. So you can use tall bar stools. You can use a cat tree. There are all sorts of cat trees out there. It does not have to be a carpeted monstrosity sitting next to your countertop or your table. There are some really kind of small cat trees. You can put a shelf up. You can install a shelf. Tanya wrote, that's not ice cream. It's just mean. I agree. I totally agree.
That is a valid point.
Yeah. Chris is not going to find any sympathy in this group, I have a feeling. No. So anyway.
No judgment to the person who used a spray bottle. I used to use spray bottles too. It seemed perfectly fine. And at some point the cats would run away in fear when I would pick it up. And you'd think that would have been a clue to me. Hey, that's scaring them. Maybe that's not the best option.
But I want to talk about the spray bottle too, because like Tanya also wrote, she said that her cat loves water and made it a game.
That's kind of fun, actually.
So I had a cat that loved it too. So I was one of those people who many, many years ago used a spray bottle because I had a cat who would get up. We had a loft and a spiral staircase in our apartment. And then kind of off to the side of the spiral staircase was a closet down below. And then we put like plants above the closet. And she would just get up on the spiral staircase and then jump over to the island, the aerial island, and then eat the plants. And I was always like, Zoe, what are you doing? And I would get the spray bottle and she would just be like, take it, give me more. I'm just gonna, just let me have it. Yeah, what else you got? What else you got? And so it just, but some cats like it, and it turns into a game, and then it's a reinforcing behavior for some cats. The other thing is it can cause fear, anxiety, and stress, and it can really come in between the bond between the person and the cat. It can change the relationship to one of fear, which can cause other behavior issues like aggression, which can be pretty serious. Yeah. And then another thing that it can do is simply train your cat to do the thing when you're not around.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't solve any problems, and it makes it harder for you to deal with because it's not happening when you're around.
Right. Right. Yeah. So how do we actually train a cat to use an alternative perch?
And we can do a whole nother hour on this someday, but clicker training is my favorite.
It's your jam.
If you don't know, cats can be clicker trained. They do great with it. Once your cat understands click equals treat or click equals reward, you can use that as a communication system with them. You can use that clicker to say, yes, in that second, what you're doing right now is what I want. And if you do that more often, I will give you treats. And like Marci said, if you can do the thing that gets you the treat, you're going to do that more than the thing that doesn't get you the treat.
Yeah.
So clicker training is a great option. And we can talk about that in some other.
We definitely need to do a session on clicker training, or more than one session, because there are so many things we could do with clicker training. And like you said, once that cat learns that the click means reward and you're able to reward just in that second.
Yep.
The cat knows, oh yeah, this is what you want. Okay, right. I can do that.
My butt just hit my perch where I'm supposed to sit, and you clicked. That means that my butt needs to hit this perch all the time if I want to get
Right. So you don't have to have a clicker, and you don't need to use a clicker.
No.
What you can do is, if your cat, you can, when you first set this up, what you do is you call your cat over and pat the little thing, and you go, come up here. And then the cat jumps up there, and then you go, oh my gosh, you're the best cat in the world. Treat.
All the things they love.
Love you. And then you call them down, and when they get down off the floor, from the perch and from the perch only, the alternative perch,
counter, yeah.
Reward them again. And then you can repeat that. Up and down, off the perch. That is the only time that they get rewards. So if they go from the perch to the counter, you don't reward them. If they go from the perch to the counter and you call them down like we described, you call them down on the floor and they jump down on the floor, you do not reward them for the same reason we described earlier. It's a behavior change that we don't approve of.
Nothing good happens if you do anything with the counter as a starting point.
Another thing you don't want to do is if the cat gets up on the counter, you don't want to pick them up and put them on the stool and then give them a reward. That's also no bueno.
As the cat thinks, okay, so to get the reward, I get on the counter, mom puts me on the thing, and then I get a treat.
Yeah, that's no good. So the only time you want to give that cat a reward is when they get up on the alternative perch and then when they get down from the alternative perch. Now, I'm sure people have questions. Well, what if the cat actually does get up on the table or the counter from the perch? What do you do?
Then you give them lots of love, right? You say, good kitty, you're on the counter. No, it's the opposite. So if your cat is on the counter already, and even if you're just walking into the room and you see that happen, as neutrally as you possibly can, you just want to pick them up, put them on the floor. No reaction, no talking, no petting, quick, short, neutral. Pick it up, put them down, and then wait a few seconds. Then you can lure them to the place that they're supposed to be and reward.
Yeah, and you do want to have a break. between putting them down on the floor. That's really important because you don't, and then you want to kind of change things up too, because cats are super good at learning patterns.
Yeah.
So if you just put the cat on the floor, and we're not talking about dropping or swooshing off, because sometimes younger cats will be like, oh, this is fun. That's a game.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah, that's a party.
So just gently plop. But yeah, you want to have a break because, and you want to change that up. So like if you end up putting your cat on the floor, you might walk around, get yourself a glass of water, and then say, okay, why don't you come up onto the stool? And you don't have to, you know, encourage your cat to go up on the stool every time they go up on the counter, because if you start doing that, they can associate. So you don't have to do that. But if you're in the beginning phases of training, you might want to do that. And so, yeah, change up your routine, get a drink of water or go into a different room and then come back in, because then the cat won't recognize like a pattern of events that happen.
They're too smart for our good.
Yeah. 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 So I think that training to go up to the alternative perch and then down again is just as important as going up and then put down from the thing. LeeAnna, do you mind if I talk a little bit about like alternative perch height and some considerations there?
I mean, if you really have to, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to take the alternative perch into consideration when you're figuring out, okay, should I put a shelf here or a cat tree or whatever? You don't want to have something that's like basically level with the counter.
Yeah,
where
that's
Tootsies,
just an extension of the counter.
Yeah, the Tootsies are like, you know, right here. Okay.
Right. And so you know they'll do that thing cats do where they'll get right on the edge of the thing they're supposed to be on, and then they'll kind of gently flap the pod of the thing they're not supposed to be on. Then they'll wiggle forward a little bit. Then they'll roll over and just happen to drape themselves on the counter. And before you know it, they're on the counter.
Exactly. Yeah. So you don't want something that's at the same level. On the opposite level of the end of the scale, you don't want something where if the cat sits on it, their eyes are like right here to the counter. Because then they just want to like, what's going on up there?
Yeah, that makes it more interesting. Think about when you hide a toy behind a pillow or something. That's exactly what you're doing. All the good stuff is happening just out of their sight line.
Yeah, so it just encourages them to get up so that they can see. The purpose of the alternative perch is so that they can see and they can still meet that need of being up high. So get something that's either going to be higher than the countertop or at least like I usually say mid chest. So like here, so that the cat has plenty of, I'm short, you know.
I'm sitting on a giant pillow right now so that I'm high enough to be at your level. So you're not that short.
Chris is taller than me, and so his chair is set low. So I'm like, I feel like I'm like this.
Anyway, sorry.
So yeah, anyway, so just take into consideration, you don't want the cat to be like this, and you don't want their paws to be at the counter level either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what else do we have to add? Do we have, I mean, what else?
I mean, that's kind of it. It seems like a complicated process, but when you break it down, you're really just making sure there's nothing on the counter that they want. You're making it unattractive. So if they were to jump up there, it wouldn't be a pleasant experience, but not a scary or upsetting experience. Just an icky,
just like
sticky stuff on my paws. I'd rather not be walking on this. I'm going to get down. And then you give them an alternative that's acceptable so that they can still get that same view.
And reward them for using that alternative.
Yes.
Reward them for using the alternative.
Yeah. If you have a food-motivated cat, you can get them to do anything.
Yeah. Ooh, so that's a good thing.
But if you don't have a food-motivated cat, Marci.
That's just what I was going to say. Okay, so you know how LeeAnna was saying click treat, and then sometimes LeeAnna would say click reward.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said before, you do not have to use a clicker with this, but a reward does not always have to be a treat, especially for cats who either don't like food very much and are going up on your counters for different reasons, or for cats who maybe are on a diet plan. Because
Or prescription food that doesn't allow for treats.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's a lot of
Yeah, we
cats.
get that question a lot. I can't feed my cat treats. What can I do? I can't train them.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe Fairlife ice cream.
It's not ice cream.
It's not ice cream. Sorry. I think maybe we just lost the Fairlife.
We might we just left that sponsorship. Darn it.
So what I was going to say is rewards can be anything that your cat likes. Does your cat like brushing? Does your cat like being petted? Does your cat like praise? Does your cat like chin scritches or top of the head scritches? Does your cat like it when you throw a ping pong ball for them? You can use almost anything that your cat enjoys as a reward. And you probably should change things up after your cat gets the picture, right? It's called rewarding on a variable schedule. That's what it's called. Or reinforcement on a variable schedule. So yeah, there's lots of things you can use as rewards, not just treats. Because you can't always have like a churro in your pocket to whip out.
I feel like I do always have a churro within like grasp of where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
I have one in my drawer right there.
Yeah, yeah. So to recap, it's really easy and you can apply this in a lot of different situations. You identify the need that your cat is trying to meet. Then you try to make what they're doing not as rewarding. You provide them with an alternative that will meet that need that is also acceptable to you. And then you reward them for doing that thing. And we want to also be very aware of our own reactions to when they do the other thing again, because this does take time for cats to learn a new habit.
And consistency. If you let your cat up on the counter once a week in the middle of this process, you can blow your training. So you really have to be consistent with it.
Yeah, and some people have asked me, well, like we feed our cats breakfast on the table, but we don't want them up on the table at any other time. Cats do not understand this concept.
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of advanced training maybe, but that's not an easy one.
Right, right. So just try to be consistent about the message. If you don't want your cats on the counter and it's never okay, then don't ever let it be okay. So it's just, it has to be kind of one way or another, and you're going to get the best results with that. It can be really frustrating, especially at first, especially with younger cats. You're going to have to get up a lot and go over the table.
A lot of this.
There's a lot of this. There's a lot of this.
But if you had a baby, there'd be a lot of that too, and a cat's cheaper than a baby. So.
And cuter.
I'm going to agree with that. Sorry. We just lost our Pampers sponsorship with that one. We're not doing very well today.
So anyway, let's see. I don't know if anybody has questions about that, but I think I pretty much covered what I wanted to say. The only other thing, I have another thing to say. So, not everybody wants like a cat tree in their kitchen or next to their table. And if you don't want that, you can establish use first. And then when they've gotten into the habit of it, you can gradually move it to a place a little bit more convenient for you. But really, it's about understanding that cat's need and then finding a way, an alternative way to meet that need that's going to work for both of you. So, even if you put out an alternative perch and your cat really isn't about using it, then your cat has said, that's not working for me. So try a different approach. Maybe there's a different perch, maybe a perch that he already likes that you can move into the area or put your alternative in a different location. So, you can always change things as you go through this training process and figure out what's working for your cat versus what is not working for your cat.
Yeah. And when you start thinking about your cat's motivations with your cat glasses on, you really start to see things differently. You understand them in a whole different way, and it makes it a lot easier. to interpret what's happening and find ways to resolve it. If it turns out that your cat isn't on the counter because they want to be up high, but because they're bored and they're not into the perch option, then maybe when you're in the kitchen cooking, they get something special to do in another room. There are a lot of ways to look at it. You just have to put your cat goggles on and try to figure out what they're trying to get from it.
If your cat is just trying to get your attention, give them attention. That's a big message.
That's the easiest option. Just give them attention before they get on the counter and after they get off the counter.
Get one of those baby Bjorns and then put the cat right in there.
That might be a little much, Marci.
Yeah, my cats don't really like to be picked up anyway.
I can't imagine Abby like, Mom,
Abby
would you put me in the thing now?
Abby would have none of that. No, none of that. Yeah.
Speaking of which, last week I promised you guys, and I invited you to join me, that every week I was kind of going to try to do something new and interesting for my cats. Did you do anything new and interesting for your cats this week, Marci?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Patrick loves the cat goggles. Oh my gosh. Yes. This thing is now our names are in front of our faces.
I'm
going to try to take this off. Hold on. See, I had to switch computers and everything because hide messages from stream. There we go. Okay. Sorry. I changed computers because again, my computer is a boulder. So functionally it's a boulder. Anyway, okay. Love the cat goggles. He doesn't wait until I take my shoes off.
So get on the counter. Yeah. It's hopeless.
So did I do anything fresh and new for my cats this week?
No pressure, just asking.
Let me think about that. What did I do? I know I did something.
P.S. Just because we do this for a living does not mean we're perfect cat parents. That's why I gave myself this challenge, because I feel like I'm not being as good a cat parent as I could be. So
yeah. I can't remember what I might have done. I mean, like I rotated toys, and here's DQ. What do you do? So fresh and so clean. So one of the things that is really big is that we're installing a second catio in my office.
You did that already. Why did I think you did that already?
No, because we got the catio and we painted it a couple weeks ago, and then we gave it back to our friend to finish up. So that is hopefully going to be installed this weekend. And so I'm super excited about it. But that's going to be a big one. That's going to be a big one.
Okay. Yeah, that is a good one. Mine aren't that exciting. So Ollie is my 3-year-old devil cat that I'm like my soul cat. He and I found a new game that he's really liking, where I hide around one corner and then he hides around the other corner, and we do like the peek around to each other, and then suddenly after a few times he will like lunge out and fly up like he's trying to scare me and then run off. So we did a lot of that. And then I've also started the very slow process of getting him comfortable with teeth brushing. And I'm going to try to video that process so I can share. So far, we've gotten to the licking the toothpaste and it tastes good part. That's as far as we got, but it's a step.
Wait, and then, what kind of toothpaste are you using? Just to clarify and make sure people know you're not using
my own toothpaste. People, toothpaste is not good for animals because it's not meant to be swallowed, and good luck trying to keep your cat from swallowing toothpaste.
DQ knew we were gonna talk about this because his comment is so clean. But I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah,
it's funny because it doesn't really seem fresh and clean because it's not like spearminty toothpaste. It's like meat flavored enzymatic toothpaste, so it's kind of but you always have to use pet toothpaste because people toothpaste is not safe for kitties.
That's not good.
And then for my old lady who is 16 and has the achy joints, I just made a very conscious effort this week to get her into a sunny spot and just pile on the attention. She's one that likes to kind of hang out in her bed, under my bed. Like that's her favorite spot. She's not super out and active. And so we just spent some time in the sun so her joints could warm up, and I gave her lots of pets, and that tends to get her out from under the bed more. So also, I'm assuming the person who's saying they use chicken flavored toothpaste, they mean for their cat, not for themselves.
Yeah, Tanya, we need to talk if you are also using chicken flavored toothpaste for your own
that
dental needs.
might not do the trick.
Yeah.
So for any of you guys who are watching, if you guys want to do new fun stuff for your cats every week, let us know what you're doing. We want to share ideas because we run out of ideas, and you guys have great ideas, and then we can share them with clients and other people, and just start this whole revolution of people doing fun stuff for their cats.
We need to, I mean, we come up with ideas for these weekly chats all the time, but we definitely want to do one on enrichment ideas.
Could do like 7 on enrichment ideas. We could do one just on how to play with a hex bug.
Right. Yeah. There's like a ton of ideas there. So, yeah. But, and then also like, if you have an idea for a session like this, it doesn't even have to be anything big, but as you've seen, LeeAnna and I can talk for 45 minutes about
hardly anything.
Sorry. Sorry it takes so long.
I don't know what to say.
I hope we're at least a little entertaining.
I know. I'm sure we'll find out. If we start getting less than one viewer every week, then we'll know.
I know. Well, I know people are watching these because I've gotten a few comments on our play talk, our talk about play. And we're going to be putting links to those products that we talked about in the descriptions. So, you
guys feel free to share these videos. The whole point is that we want to give people information. There's tons of dog information out there, but there's just not a lot about cats. You really have to dig for it, and we want to make it easier to find. So share with a friend, send people little invites to our business Facebook group. We have the private Facebook group where people can post questions. We have amazing moderators. We have amazing people,
including Tanya.
Yes, that give lots of ideas and helpful hints, and all the things. Just all the cat things all the time.
And if you are having a cat behavior issue that you need more help with,
right, the thing we do for a living. I forgot about that.
We also accept money for those services.
This is also a job.
It's a way to, I think our expertise comes in not only knowing these things, but creative ways to problem solve. I mean, you can view our video about play sessions or litter box suggestions, whatever. But, if you don't know how to creatively apply those things, you might be, or like, when do I do these things? Where in the house? Or we have this issue that's preventing us from being able to do those things. That's what we're here for. Yeah. We look at all that stuff and help you get over those roadblocks. So if you have a problem or just want to learn how to give your cats a better life because you love talking to us, you want to talk to us privately,
we're not quite this obnoxious in our consults, I should say. We're probably a little more professional in our consults. No. That's not true, because I met you and had a consult with you before I switched to this career.
That's true. That's true.
You're very professional.
Yeah. Professional, wink, wink. So you can go to our website. It's felinebehaviorsolutions.com. You can go to the services page there and see the consultation types that we offer. We have a couple different offerings right now, hoping to expand that. Yes. And if we have something that you would like to talk to us about, and we can do kind of custom packages too. So we're open to it. But we also have a lot of articles on our website too. So go under the resources menu and you'll see some articles there and also recommended products. So
it's probably worth mentioning too, because, some of our followers are with, they volunteer at rescues, they work in vet clinics. So we also do professional training sessions. If you've got teams that want to learn more about cat behavior, how to deal with fear in a shelter environment, those kinds of things, we do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap it up unless, LeeAnna, you have any last words? No, nope,
nothing. My cat wants to go for a walk, so every moment that I'm sitting here, he's evil-eyeing me, wondering why he's not in his harness right now outside on the patio.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
If you missed any of this, you can watch it on, it's recorded onto our pages and in our group.
You can fast forward, do the boring parts where we talk about ice cream. That's not ice cream.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see you again next week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.